Bismihi subhanehu ve in min şeyin la yusebbihu bihamdihi. It's my great pleasure to be here with you today. Actually, also I didn't read Muddessir's paper beforehand, but what I will be talking about today, Muddessir had a good introductory remarks for me. Thank you for this, Muddessir. What I wanted to talk today actually mainly will be about how epistemological grounds were laid by Risale-i Nur collections. As you know, epistemology, as Muddessir was talking as a knowledge, epistemology is the science to know how to know about the knowledge. So, throughout the history of philosophy, all philosophers have started to talk about knowledge before and foremost of everything. For Muslim scholars, it was the case again. And when they started to talk about anything about religion, they started to talk about primarily on knowledge. Early books on Kalam were always talking about epistemology. What is the source of our knowledge? Is the knowledge can be known by our senses, can be testified by our intellect, and would it be possible to reach definite knowledge? Would it be possibly reasonably define the structure of the definitive knowledge? It's called by Farabi Şeraitul Yakin. It's a proof by definitive demonstration. As it happened in the early Muslim philosophers, it was always the case, great scholars touched upon the epistemology. Like Ghazali, he was the turning point in the Muslim philosophical tradition. He mentioned how we fulfill our reason and mind in relation to proof and assertion and argumentation. And in the same line, Said Nursi did the same methodology in interpretation and exegesis of the Quran in the light of modern Muslim needs. But what was he offering in Risale-i Nur collections as a new shift in the paradigm of thinking? And that thinking was in relation to develop rational argumentation. That was the reason Muddessir was talking integration of religious sciences and the modern sciences. Actually, when we look at the Risale-i Nur, it is the greatest example to do that job in his writings. And in Risale-i Nur, from the early writing process, like it happened in the 10th word, it's called a chapter on hereafter. He used very sophisticated way of argumentation for clear, simple, definitive demonstration. In this chapter on resurrection in hereafter, Nursi used a methodology of mutakellimun and mutafelsifun, the philosophers and Kalam scholars' way. What he did, actually, he used the ratio of the Quran in his argumentation. And now in my paper I will be calling it, as Nursi used in his book, as a Shuudi methodology. Shuudi methodology, as all you know, Muslims start making assertion about their religion. I testify, I bear witness on. So this is the testifying, a demonstrative proof, ashhadu, which means I believe. But it is not the sense of just a belief. It's not like a dream. I believe something. I believe like a unicorn. No, it's not like this. Which means I believe, I assert I am firmly convinced by demonstration of it. So when I say Eşhedü, it is clear, simple testification of my eyesights of the mind. So my mind, through reason, through intellect, on the heart, accept that argumentation. So Risale-i Nur used that kind of methodology. As an example in the Hereafter chapter, Said Nursi used the universe as one of the great witness. Because according to Nursi, there are great three teachers, or there are three great witnesses for our belief and assertions. One is the Resul Ekrem Aleyhisselam. He is the biggest witness us who teaches about our knowledge, about our experience of life. And then secondly, Quran Hakim. And Hakim, the name is not just nonsensical. It has a meaning, it has a point there, which talks to hearts and minds at the same time. So Quran Hakim is the witness, is telling us about our existence and about our meaning. Then thirdly and foremostly, Nursi keep emphasizing throughout Risale-i Nur, the universe is the greatest scholars, greatest teachers for us. How we can make sense of our existence, how can we make use of demonstrative proof through existential wisdom in front of us. So when we look at the universe, whatever we see, it's called ayah. In the Arabic word, ayah means indication. It shows something, it directs something. So universe directs us as a teacher, as a muallim, to read and understand what is the phenomena of our existence. So this is the teaching of Quran. This is the methodology of Quran about the teaching knowledge. So this universe is as a whole and as a particles all together, from minutest thing to the greatest thing, from zarrat to kulliyat, to greatest galaxies and suns and orbits. So when we look at the universe, we have to listen what is telling us about the knowledge. Because when we are talking about the knowledge, this universe teaches us how to use our reason. So, as a methodology, as all you know, knowledge has base on intuition. Knowledge has connection to utilization of intellectual faculties. So when we use our intellectual faculties, we have primarily our senses, mahsusat. So when we use our mahsusat, we see, we touch, and we smell. Now, the methodology is like this. When we see something, when we hear something, when we smell something, this is the phenomena as a sign of the all-wise and all-omniscient Subhanahu Hakim. And those phenomena are talking to us in a proper and a special way. Nursi calls this as a ta'allum asma, teachings of asma, teachings of the names. What are the names? Names of all glorified Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are reflected in various phenomena. In one of the beautiful flowers, in one of the drop of the ocean, in the one minutest light of the sun reflects the names of God. Jalal, Jamal, Hakim, Rahim. All those names are sounded and echoed in the universe. So as a teacher, as a source of knowledge, the universe talks to us about its knowledge. So, like Biruni, he was around from this area. He was Hindi, and he was a great one of the scientists of Muslim heritage. Al-Biruni, he calculated the round measure of the world on the top of his camel. He was looking up the stars to calculate how to measure the ground and soil. While he was doing this, Al-Biruni, he was making zikr. He was remembering the beauty of God. He was remembering the names of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the same way, all great scholars of Muslim heritage, Sayyid Nursi invites once more, because we have forgotten a little bit about that. We ignore this. We neglected it. So Risale-i Nur invites us again back to remembrance. Remembrance to tezekkur. Remembrance of that knowledge. Because knowledge is not qualitative knowledge only. Quantitative and qualitative knowledge are kind of offending each other in the modern sciences. But qualitative knowledge should also has a great impact from qualitative knowledge. Quantity and quality are the biggest discussion in the modern philosophy of science. But according to Risale-i Nur, for everyone, not for only Muslims, not for only Turks and the others, it's not like this. It's for everyone. Everyone who has a mind, like Quran Hakim invites everyone, not only Muslims. Quran Hakim invites everyone, and Risale-i Nur uses same methodology, invites everyone. Use epistemological ground and realize the names and attributes of God on the surface on the earth, on the surface of the universe. So this universe provides us all the details, works of All-Wise One. All-Wise One, Alim, the name of Alim, Allah's one of the name, is related. It's related every single creation. But once again, Risale-i Nur invites us a one special methodology again. Marifetullah. Marifetullah is the greatest science, as it happened always talk by the Muslim scholars throughout the centuries. As they emphasize, Nursi emphasize once more, Marifetullah is not just to know there is a God, Alhamdulillah, there is a Prophet, Alhamdulillah, okay. It's not like this. It's a study. It is the recognition of the knowledge. It is the recognition of the ground of the knowledge. Since we should be realizing and comprehensively understanding demonstrative proof, then we can reach ispat-ı vücudullah, demonstrative proof of the existence of God. So this demonstration is nothing different than any evidential work. Let me explain that. In the modern age, positivism claims that all knowledge should be visible. I can only believe if I see it. And the sight is limited only what is in the visual phenomena. Nursi attacks on that point. Positivism had a big mistake because sight is not fulfilled by only eye sighting. Vision of the mind comes along with the eyes, with mind and heart. Now, after 1960s, 1970s in the West, there are great Western scholars. they attack on the positivism, and they say positivism is a great mistake. We limited our knowledge to only visual things. We limited our senses. We limited our understanding of the universe on the visual experience. Now, Risale-i as a methodology, like it happened in the Hereafter chapter. Ayetül Kübra, for example, another chapter is called by Said Nursi, Greatest Science of the Unity, Ayetül Kübra chapter. And then chapter on nature, Tabiat Risalesi. And the other chapters, another volumes of the Risale-i Nur keep emphasizing evidential proof is very important, which is called Shuudi method. As you might all remember, we have a name also for this in the Muslim philosophical tradition, Burhani tradition. Burhan is the clear proof what you believe in it, clear proof what you comprehensively understand it, because there is no understanding without recognition. There is no understanding without comprehension. Those are the hermeneutical tools for everyone. Quran keeps using it from the trees, from the seas, from the oceans, from the mountains, from the animals. Estağfirullah. Efela yanzuruna ilal ibili keyfe hulukat. And the Quran talks about camels to Bedawi. Who's the Bedawi? Who sleep with the camel. He will think, I know all about camel. I have hundreds name about camel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps reminding, look at it. And when you look at it, you will face the ground epistemological paradigm. So Muslim, when they have a structure of mind, this structuring the mind based on almost visual, evidential, clear and simple argumentation. This is the way of Quran, and this is the way of modern man, and Risale-i Nur remind of all humanity. If you want to have a peace in the world, if you want to have a happiness in our world, we have to all remember, not only Muslim, I keep emphasizing, for whole humanity, we have to go back to understand our simple humanity. In order to understand our simple humanity, Quran teach us that way. Burhani way, Shuhudi way, and Risale-i Nur with its 6,000 pages keep reminding us that belief assertions, these belief proposition relies on reasonable, rational argumentation. So that is my general frame, and this is kind of really following up the general frame of the Risale-i Nur's construction. Of course, you can produce lots of other issues out of this main epistemological ground. If you are talking about education, it's ground there. If you are talking about the ethics, it's ground there. If you are talking about the politics, it's ground on the epistemological clear grounds. And I'm very much delighted to be with you. I thank you all very much.